Well, this one's very interesting. I did a little bit before on it, doing a little bit more on it. Most people don't know that on August 7th, 1972, the greatest solar flare in the history of the planet occurred. This is an abstract, some unusual features of the cosmic ray storm in August of 1972. Now you got to realize, I'm the only one that knows this. On August 6, 1972, all life on planet was put to sleep, and they were not woken up until August 13th, 1972. They're given the 1500. This is the common one, and it just keeps changing all the time. They're saying a giant shockwave from this hit the Earth. Ooh, let's hit the PDF real fast. And then the major events during the 2nd to the 8th of August. Well, I know for a fact that it happened on August 7th because I remember August 6th being told that the whole planet was being put to sleep. On August 7th, after the event happened, Eastern Standard Time around 3 o'clock in the morning, I went to sleep. I woke up the following day. I observed all the light, the casting of the shadows. The telephone pole that was in front of my house had different lengths of shadows. From what I understand, you got to realize, everyone thinks of the Earth as having a North Pole and a South Pole. And here they're giving it a flare at 11:24 UT. So if you notice, time's very convoluted right here. They're giving out all different types of dates, times. Nobody knew anything. The whole planet was put to sleep. I know, because I woke up and it was a ghost town. Different times, all saying the same thing. Something big, bigger than it's ever happened. Remember, when Noah lived, he said, God, what's going to happen?
This rare footage of a meteorite in flight was taken quite by chance in Alberta in 1972. We'll show it to you twice since it's quite short. The meteorite only broke up a little and seemed to have skipped through the atmosphere and returned to space, which was probably just as well, since it was calculated to be about 150 feet across and would have caused quite some damage if it had come to Earth.
This video is about the so-called Rocky Mountain meteor of 1972, which was seen on August 10th, 1972. To approximately Edmonton, Canada. Its perigee longitude was at 112.9 and is about 3.6 miles as shown here in this picture with the increments. There's been a lot of controversy about the daylight fireball of August 10th, 1972.
clear footage of a meteorite in flight was taken quite by chance.
Number, and it's 72. Hello, I'm John. And mathematicians have known for many, many years that for some reason the number 72 is like a magic code that will tell you very important information.
When I googled 72 art disciples, I had Mona Lisa 72. So I started to search and read, and then I found out that a man in Italy that is passionate about art, and he found in research that the number 72 is in the background of the famous painting, the Mona Lisa.
7 plus 2 is 9.
Numerology.
Il 9, e qui forse c'è il riverbero un po' anche da un Brown, il 9 rimanda agli illuminati.
Okay, 9 it reminds me illumination.
Cioè quei sapienti o dotti che possono avere un rapporto diretto con le verità divine attraverso un'intuizione mistica.
So to those people that can have a direct contact to the mystic, yeah.
Yes, I agree with that.
It's incredible. It's also synchronistic. It's also inspirational. But the idea of the 72-9 is for us as nature, as little human beings, to offer everything we have back up to the higher source. So everybody has a gift to give. But yeah, and also it's to do with refined sensitivity. That's 72. And look at the Mona Lisa.
Yes.
How inspiring.
What I found was in the left eye, there is the letter S. In the right eye, there's a letter L. Then in the background of the painting, underneath the arch, there's the number 72. Underneath the arch, there's the number 72. During this period of the Renaissance, geometric symbols and numbers were very important.
When you're investigating signs and symbols, the numbers 7 and 2 come up time and time again. I hide the number 27 in every single one of my novels, and they were clearly special numbers to Leonardo. Da Vinci used 27 and 72 degrees as the basis for Vitruvian Man. The numbers show up repeatedly in his paintings, and he even invented his own shape that has 72 sides.
When I found the number 72, I thought of the Last Supper, because in the painting, the ceiling has 72 inlays. 7 and 2 also refers to John's Gospel talking about the apocalypse.
Clearly, Da Vinci was fixated on 2 and 7. Silvano says 27 refers to the book of Revelations, in which Jesus tells Apostle John about a violent series of events at the end of the world. 72 is also a biblical reference. It refers to the number of races that survived Noah's Ark. That's right. The number 72 doesn't just relate to an apocalyptic story, but to a story describing a worldwide flood.
Leonardo knew very well the Old and New Testament of the Bible, and in his library, personal library, he had these passages written out.
So if we do look very closely at the Mona Lisa, do you think he's telling us something that's going to happen?
Leonardo
da Vinci used to say that the painting is the appearance that dresses the truth. If you look in the background, the painting is the appearance that dresses the truth. Leonardo da Vinci used to say that the painting is the appearance that dresses the truth. If you look in the background of the painting, you'll see that the landscape is unfinished. Meanwhile, Mona Lisa is very clear, and it's saying that men have the power to destroy nature, so be careful. The genius of Leonardo is that he was able to put all that he learned inside his paintings and put messages in there that speak to us over the ages.
Silvano still has several tests to run before he can prove if Lisa Gerardini was.
All these different things, while 72 itself is important for other reasons, the very obvious one is that 7, or the 8 times 9, and 8 is the symbol for infinity. You just turn it on its side and you have the infinity symbol. And 8 is kept to that shape, right? So 9, if you look at it, it represents phi. And phi is nature. So
just moments ago, Wolf, the National Hurricane Center has lifted now the status of the storm to a Category 3, and it's a mid-level Category 3. We're only 10 miles per hour away from a Category 4 status, and we do have that time and space still available, but let's not concentrate on that. This is going to really impact northern Florida, Georgia, through the Carolinas with more force than we had with Florence. Completely different storms. Florence was all about water, the surge and the rainfall, but right now we've seen twice in the last 24 hours some rapid intensification. Yesterday, 40-mile-per-hour sustained winds, up to 85 last night. Now we're at 120, and we've got gusts up to 150 miles per hour. We're 295 miles south of Panama City. The National Hurricane Center picks and chooses their wording very carefully, Wolf. Yesterday, they talked about life-threatening inundation, and this is going to happen. Also, today, they used the word historic. Again,
have you seen any new information?
The new information is the storm is strengthening, continue to strengthen as we get closer to a landfall sometime this afternoon. The bottom line here is the Panhandle of Florida has never, ever experienced a storm like this in their history. We are going to be talking about catastrophic, life-threatening damage, storm surge, and hurricane-force winds in excess of 140 miles per hour for a duration of several hours. So the latest update as of 5 a.m., it is strengthening. It could actually strengthen even more as we get into the next couple of hours as we approach landfall. And I mean, the storm in the textbooks here is a perfect looking hurricane. Perfect looking hurricane. All 4 quadrants have filled out. We've got a well-defined eye. This is unfortunately a worst case scenario for the Panhandle of Florida. Already seeing wind gusts in excess of 35 miles per hour along the coast, 33 in Apalachicola. And again, we are expecting a landfall sometime this afternoon, maybe between 1 and 3. Still yet to be determined, but the strength of this storm is going to be, unfortunately, the legacy of it.
Thank you for giving me the strength and the conviction to complete the task you entrusted to me. Thank you for guiding me straight and true through the many obstacles in my path. And for keeping me resolute when all around seemed lost. Thank you for your protection and for your many signs along the way. Thank you for any good that I may have done. I'm so sorry about the bad. Thank you for the friend I made. Please watch over her as you've watched over me. fought the good fight. I finished the race. I kept the faith.
The most destructive force in the universe. Nothing can escape it, escape it, escape it, escape it, escape it. What would you do if a vicious enemy suddenly started coming at you, armed to the teeth, and ready to kill you?
Good morning, Sodom and Gomorrah. Good morning, sinners. No, that wasn't your radio sets on the blink again.
Begin the day. Open up your eyes, dollar tray.
Contemplating on a wrinkle in a razor. Telepathic warfare, mind boggling, amazing. Unseen fingers pulling unstoppable triggers. Visible crosshairs illuminate like flares. Number 7-2 tetra. Number 7-2 tetra. Number 7-2 tetra. Grammatone electra. Fine, now you're dying. Now it's time to stop the lying. Killing with the robbing. Nailing and the bobbing. Unconditional, medicinal. I'm breaking with traditional. The ways you blaze could put you in the haze for days. You blaze could put you in the haze for days. I'm my own boss, time to give myself a raise. Fire you and get a brand new team around me. I was never lost, so how the fuck you found me? Keep your eye on the dollar, falling from my tree. Subconscious, subliminal like Dollar Tree.
Your eyes, dollar tray. The other night I had a conversation with the talking tree to raise my mental clarity and my dexterity. I rise to the occasion, mirror to the sun. My right hand, understand the power of 1 + 1 and 2 pair of lungs well spoken. Like from all of you, my lyrics have that ass so you could even soak in. I form a spiritual osmosis if you feel alone and hopeless. An outsider, battle between the greases and the soldiers. Life is just a game, we be the coaches. With mad referees, blowing whistles. Cash got fistfuls, smoking pistols. These the early dismissal, clear as crystal. You meathead, you're full of gristle. Chewing the fat, you ask why it's like that. Putting physical selves up on a shelf. They call me mausoleum, superior being, divine routines and rhyming. I'm blowing up the spot like a hymen. Focus on the bird in the park that can't fly. Focus on the truth, never focus on the lie. Look at all the shit in your town and ask why. Never focus on the lie. Look at all the shit in your town and ask why. Focus on the camera hanging in the sky.
Into a crowd of roughly 22,000 concert goers on the Las Vegas Strip.
Focus on the bird in the park that can't fly. Focus on the truth, never focus on the lie. Look at all the shit in your town and ask why. Focus on the camera hanging in the sky. From beginning to the end, by myself and all alone. Well, in my head is the place I call my home. By the time you figure out what the hell is going on, a little bit too late, you're extinct like Mastodon. Open up your eyes, I'll let you in. Walk tall, begin the day. Open up your eyes, I'll let you in. Walk tall, bring the bone. Walk.
Look about you carefully.
Tell us not the truth, but what they want us to believe. To tell us not the truth, but what they want us to believe. To tell us not the truth, but what they want us to believe.
God's gonna set this world on fire. God's gonna set this world on fire. One of these days, hallelujah. God's gonna set this world on fire. Gonna set this world on fire one of these days.
as well as the Napa County Fairgrounds on North Oaks in Calistoga. Finley Community Center nearly at capacity as well.
It is. There's a fire kicking up right here next. Situation is changing so quickly. I've been on a lot of fires, and I have never seen anything behind these vehicles that are driving into the hospital parking lot right now. People are actually running for their lives.
Drove by around my shop. I saw my truck was already fire, and fire was not coming even close to the building yet.
North Santa Rosa is being impacted still by this fire. It still is very dynamic and very active, as you can see.
What are we seeing and hearing right here?
Yeah, so you're seeing some sort of material ignite and burn in there. You're getting a lot of materials that are vaporizing and combusting, gas lines, different materials they may store in the structure, and obviously some explosions occurring as well.
Are we in danger right here? Do we need to start thinking about moving back based on this?
Good time to end the interview and step back for a second. Obviously, they're all important.
Really difficult. Chief, you just heard from Ed Bledsoe. He lost his wife and his two great...
On these days, we have air attack in the sky who's looking down and seeing the progression of this fire. I know on Thursday night when the fire exploded into Reading, they were in coordination with the commanders as well as the sheriff's office and police departments to get warnings out ahead of this fire as much as possible. What conditions we saw on the Thursday night here in Reading kind of are what people are calling a weather phenomenon or an anomaly where an actual possible vortex came through here. And that's literally fire behavior that we have not experienced or seen or witnessed in a generation here in Northern California. And unfortunately, you know, it tears at firefighters' hearts to obviously have any loss of life or injury.
On Tower Health and 299.
The fire progressed into those two areas, and then all of a sudden the weather picked up as far as winds. We actually had a few fire tornadoes within this area that moved vehicles around, broke windows out of the vehicles. That kind of tells you the ferocity and just the aggressiveness of this fire that came through this particular area. There was very little warning because of the speed of that fire picked up so dramatically.
Scott, put this fire in context compared to others that you've seen or others we might have heard about in other places. Fire tornado sounds like something we don't hear about a lot.
Well, more than a quarter of a mile wide, rising some 16,000 feet into the air, churning across the ground for as long as 80 minutes, whatever you call it. The firestorm that burned into Reading last week was not something we see very often, and even the experts are at a loss for words.
There's another
heat rapidly rising off the ground, and that's
that surrounded and drove the car fire, causing widespread damage even in areas where the fire itself did not burn.
Preliminarily, they saw uprooted trees, bark stripped from a tree, which is pretty impressive. That takes an incredible amount of wind, as well as high tension wire utility poles knocked down as well from the wind.
And the best metric they've come up with for this kind of event, an EF3 tornado on the Fujita scale.
Very, very impressive wind speeds, estimated to be in excess of 143 miles per hour.
There were things that really shocked us the next morning looking at that, where there was a vehicle upside down, 100 feet into Coffey Park.
Not at all. And I mean, I don't want to be a conspiracy theorist backed out of Southern California, but
have relatives they can stay with or friends. That isn't so much for them the hard part. The hard part is just not knowing where this is all going to end up.
Rob, as I sort of look over your shoulder, it appears as though there is at least one home that is still standing. Can you bring our viewers and myself up to date as
There is at least one home that is still standing. Can you bring our viewers and myself up to date as we just now are joining you? Is the entire area destroyed, or is that right? Is that in fact a home behind you? I can see a vehicle parked outside of it. Is that in fact a home that's still standing? Oh no, I see the flames now.
No. What you're looking
Up 101 through Santa Rosa. Rob, the one thing I don't notice here are any firefighters. I imagine they're just too busy with other things that they're essentially just going to let this burn itself out?
That's my guess, and that, the same is true in that. So they don't know. One woman she raises chickens. She doesn't know how they're doing. So it's a very trying time. And we heard one story that I had never heard before, and that is that one home, he goes back to his home and he sees that his outbuilding had a trailer that was gone, and the flames were just starting to get onto the main part of his house, and he and neighbors doused it with bottled water. They all got around their We're just starting to get onto the main part of his house, and he and neighbors doused it with bottled water. They all got around, raided their garages and refrigerators, and were pouring bottled water on it, and it worked. It saved the home. He said that had he gone there 2 or 3 minutes later, it would have been too late.
Field is burnt. Oh yeah, this is probably a nice turnaround spot, huh?
Is that shit blowing up? Why would all that be next to the road?
Wow, look at that, bro.
Something happened. Something blew up.
Slow down right here. Oh yeah, something did blow up probably.
Yeah, I gotta go up there. Holy shit, look at the fucking power line. Get the power line.
Oh man, watch out for this guy.
Get the power line. Alright, we gotta hurry.
This one's on fire.
Confusion here as these cars have been left sort of in the middle of the street. They've been melted down to nothing. Even the tires have melted off this car that's sitting right here, left in the middle of the street, of course. And as we move to the middle, we noticed something that was kind of strange here. It's a boat. It's a boat and a car that's been flipped over. How did this happen? You can just see maybe the utter confusion here as these cars have been left sort of in the middle of the street. They've been melted down to nothing. Even the tires have melted off this car that's sitting right here, left in the middle of the street, of course. And as we move to the middle, we noticed something that was kind of strange here. It's a boat. It's a boat and a car that's been flipped over. How did this happen? It's so hard to explain some of these things.
People are trying to escape this. And there was no other way out. This would have effectively been a roadblock. That's a car upside down. Vehicle.
Fire. Hi for Adobe Canyon Road. One more time. Adobe Canyon. Wires are arcing. There is no active fire, and we're continuing 2 engines. So Adobe Canyon is no active fire, just power lines arcing? Yep. So Adobe Canyon is no active fire, just power lines arcing? Yep. All right, we're on our way. Thank you. Belongings, don't worry about any of your stuff. Get your family, get out of here, okay? Yes. It's CHP, Highway 12 and Nuns Canyon Road. Okay. Yes. Hi. What is the address of the emergency? I'm sorry, there's a fire. I can see a glow and I can smell smoke. How far away are you looking? I would say it could be off of Nelligan Road or Nuns Canyon Road. It might be farther back. No, it's close. I think it's the Open Space District property. Is it north of 12 or south of 12? This is on the northeast side of 12. It's at Beltane Ranch. What's the name of the ranch? I need help. Beltane Ranch. Beltane Ranch. Okay. And is it, we need help. We need immediate help. What you're seeing?
I'm seeing, I think it's a house on fire.
Okay.
We see a big fire, and it's a big fire, and the wind is like crazy up here.
And I need some assistance with my father. He's at it.
Okay, we're telephone.
And I need assistance with my father.
Okay.
Ma'am? Yes, we are trapped and we are running. I know, I understand. County with a retransfer regarding ambulance request on Nuns Canyon. Okay, hello? Hi, I tried to leave Nuns Canyon with my children, and I couldn't get down the road because there were too many flames on. Hundreds of 911 to answer right now? Yes, so yes. Please call us back if you need. The firefighters are on this fire, and I feel like we're trapped on Nuns Canyon here, so I'm just fearing for my family. I know, I totally get it. Trying to do your best, trying to get them evacuated if you can. Okay, what can we do there? Where is everybody? We're right in our backyard, and there's no fucking fire engines here. I'm on my road, and there's a fire behind AutoZone, and we already had that call. Embers everywhere. Okay, we had that call already.
Pull up.
Okay, somebody's there?
I see somebody. I'm not sure if it's fire.
Okay, and is the house itself that's on fire?
Not yet, but it's going to be any minute now because it's literally the hedge is all above the house. So I'm on one side of the property. I don't even know what's going on the other side.
Okay, very good. We'll let the fire department know to make sure, okay, that they know. We have huge vegetation fire, and we have multiple structure fires in that area.
No, there's no going back right now, okay? No going back.
No going back, okay? We will notify that via news or anything, but stay out of the area.